Good morning, student. I Purnima welcome you to my class. And children, today I am going to um, revise the first lesson. Okay, this is the second time we are going to do the revision of from first flight. This is first chapter of first flight of your prose book, and the name of the lesson is A Letter to God, written by G.B. Fuentes. A very nice story and very emotional story. A person who is having a blind faith in God, and let's see that whether the God fulfills his wishes or not. So first of all, I would like to revise something about the author, Gregorio Lopez y Fuentes. So this is his full name, Gregorio, Gregorio, Gregorio Lopez, Lopez, Y. Fuentes was born on July 11, 1897 at Lanzarote in the Canary Island. He first went to sea as a deck boy with his father at the age of 10. As a teenager, Fuentes worked on cargo ships that went out of the Canary Island to Trinidad and Puerto Rico. He also sailed to the Spanish part of Valencia and surveyed to South America. He migrated permanently to Cuba at the age of 22. Fuentes, a lifelong cigar smoker, died from cancer in 2002 at the age of 105 years. Now children, I think he is the person, he enjoyed his life, though he was suffering from cancer, but he died at the age of 105. Nowadays people who survive till 70 are very lucky, and 80 are the most luckiest. But look at him, he survived till the age of 105, though he was a pension sufferer. He was a cancer patient, but he died in 2002 after having a wonderful life. Okay, and at the age of 105 he left for his heavenly journey. Now I would like to, I've already told you this is the third time revision we are doing, so nothing new. But I think some of the people, while writing your test, RTs and half yearly examination, I have seen that you have missed some of the points. So first of all, I would like to describe the theme of the story. This is a story of a hard working foreman, Lancho. What is this story is about? This story is about a hard working farmer, Lancho. He is expecting a good harvest this year if it rains. And children, he is expecting a very good harvest this year and waiting for the rain to come, because the moment it will rain, he will be sure that he will be getting a good harvest. Unfortunately, the rain does come, bringing a brief happiness. Well, rain came also, but it was, his happiness was only for a short period. It was a brief happiness. However, a hailstorm follows the rain, destroying all his crop. So what happened? A hailstorm follows. So what happened? A hailstorm, it followed after the rainfall. And children, he was deeply hurt because he looks towards God. He knew what will be happening, what would be the result of the hailstorm. Okay, because the moment hailstorm came, he knew that all his crop will be destroyed now. And children, he was deeply hurt because he had worked a lot for this crop, and he looked towards God, towards heaven. Having an unshaken faith in God, he writes a letter to him. Now children, he was not knowing what to do, and finally children, he wrote a letter to God, and he told him about everything, that he was waiting for the rainfall, but instead of rainfall, what happened? A hailstorm was also there, which destroyed all his crop. And now how the whole family will be eating and fulfill their necessary thing, how they will be getting the necessary thing without money. So since he was having a strong belief, strong faith in God, he wrote a letter to God, and he told God that he want 100 pesos so the needs of his family can be fulfilled. This amount is sufficient enough to sow his crop again. Now children, uh, he was well children, having an unshaken faith in God, he writes a letter to God, and he demanded what? 100 pesos. This amount is sufficient enough to sow his crop again. He then posted. Well, when he posted the letter, finally the post office people received it. They had a hearty laugh when the postman read it and showed it to the postmaster. So first, children, they all enjoyed by laughing at him. But then the postmaster was a generous man. He took it seriously, in fact very seriously, and he decided to help Lancho. He gives a part of his salary and collects money from the other employees also, requesting him that why to move his faith against the God. So let's collect all the money and give it to him. Well, he sent 70 pesos to Lancho. Finally, how much money was collected? It was 70 pesos. It was collected and it was sent to Lancho. Lancho's happiness was momentary when he counts the money. God can't deceive him. It is the work of post office, as post office employees are a bunch of crook. This lesson shows three things. It shows Lancho firm faith in God. His faith is rewarded, though the helpers are human beings. So children, this lesson shows three things to us. First, Lancho has a firm faith in God. His faith is rewarded through the helpers, but those helpers are not God, but they are human beings. Secondly, it shows the utter innocence of the former Lancho. Thirdly, the lesson gives a message that sometimes even your generosity is not recognized. You may not get any credit for your generosity and kindness. The most important lesson, children, this is the main message of the lesson, that sometimes even if generosity is not recognized, it could be question mark, though you have done a good deed. Okay, people will question mark at your generosity and kindness, but on the other hand, you may be understood as a bunch of crook. People may be taking you as a bunch of crook, like this happened in this letter. It was the postmaster who helped him by giving amount from his own salary. He requested other employees to give the money to Lancho, otherwise he will lose faith in God. But finally what happened? What is the irony here? The irony here is Lancho blames to him by telling him that he is a crooked fellow. God has sent him 100 pesos, but these people, they have kept it. And the whole blame come to the postmaster. So this is the main thing. I mean to say, we have to do our deeds, forget about the result which we are having. Okay. Now children, I have divided this lesson into main 7 points of the lessons are there, and point wise I will be explaining you. Okay, so then detail I will be explaining you the whole lesson. But remember, you have to go through word by word that we are doing in the offline classes. Each and every line you must understand to attempt your examination. So first of all, I would like to tell you the first point. Lancho is a farmer. So my first point is Lancho is a farmer. He is a very hard working farmer. Okay, his house was the only one in the entire valley. It was on the top of a hill. His field needed a good harvest. He was looking towards the sky, hoping for a rain. During the meal, big drops of rain began to fall. He went out to feel the rain on his body. Raindrops like coin. My second point is, children, he worked hard. He has grown crop, And children, he really worked so hard and expected a good harvest this year, and he is waiting for the rain. Okay, so my second point is raindrops like coin. Raindrops like coin. Lancho was satisfied. The drops of rain were like the coin. The big drops were 10-cent pieces, and the little ones were worth 5 each. Suddenly, a strong wind began to blow. Lancho was worried. Okay. Now, third point is raining of huge hailstorm. Okay, this is the third point, raining of huge hailstone. Third is raining of huge hailstone. Raining of huge hailstone. Along with the rain came very large hailstone. They truly did resemble silver coins. They truly did resemble. So these hailstones are compared to silver coin here, and you can guess which figure of speech is going to be here. The house, the fields, and the hillside were covered with the white hails. Not a leaf remained on the trees. So children, it was a hailstorm. We know how destructive is hailstorm to the plant. Not even a single leaf remained on the trees. Everything fell down due to cold. Everything destroyed. All the plants, leaf, everything was destroyed due to the cold. The corn was all the corns were totally destroyed. So were the flowers. Lancho was sorrowful. They would have no corn that year. Now children, he now knew the trouble has come. Lancho, he felt that the trouble has come now, and they will be having no corn, no crop to eat this year. Fourth is single hope, help from God. Now, single hope. So fourth is single hope. Single hope is what was their hope? Firm faith in God. He was sure that God is surely going to help him. So had a firm strong faith in God, and believed that God will surely help him. So he got a firm belief in God, and he children told that God will surely is going to help him. All right. Now, Lancho thought that there was only one hope. It was a help from God. The following Sunday, he wrote a letter to God. Now, what he did, Lancho? He wrote a letter to God. He wrote that if he did not help, his whole family would die. He needed 100 pesos in order to sow his field again and to live until the new crop came. He wrote to God on the envelope, placed stamp on it, and dropped it into the mailbox. So children, he really needed 100 pesos for two things, for all his requirement, okay, all his to fulfill his necessary needs, and to sow his crop in the field again, and to live until the new crop came. So he decided to write a letter to God. He wrote a letter to God. On the envelope, what address he wrote? He wrote to God. Placed a stamp on me. He also placed a stamp on the envelope and dropped it into the mailbox. Now let's see what happened. When the envelope was dropped in the mailbox, okay, in the post office, everybody, when they saw, they were surprised to see that envelope. Okay, and the strange address. So the fifth point is strange address. Okay, so this is the fifth point. Fifth point is the strange address. One of the postmen who read the address laughed heartily and took it to the postmaster. The postmaster was quite a friendly and pleasant man. He too broke out laughing, but soon he became serious. So at first the whole everybody laughed, but then they took everything very seriously. He realized that the reader of the letter had a great faith in God, and he did not want to shake the writer's faith in God. And finally, he took a decision. What decision he took? That everyone, all his employees, he requested all the employees of the post office, as well children, he himself, he deducted, and children contributed some part of his salary to Lanco. And then he decided, not only that, so total 70 pesos were collected, and then finally after collecting the money, he decided to write the letter to Lancho. Okay, now my sixth point is help from the postmaster. Help from the postmaster. The generous postmaster collected money from his employees, and he himself, as I told you, gave him some part of his salary. He total how much pesos he collected? It was altogether 70 pesos. All the money he could collect in an envelope and sent it to Lanchos by mail. And children, he collected all the money and sent all this money to Lanchos by mail. Lancho's anger against post office employee. Now children, this is the turning point of the story. The person who had helped him a lot, the Lancho was angry with that person. So this is the most turning point of the story. So what is the turning point of the story? Lancho angers against post office employees. This is the last point, but a very important point. In fact, this is the turning point of the whole story. So what is this point? It is the irony of the story also. Seventh is Lancho's anger against post office employees. Lancho's anger against post office Lancho had a firm and unshaken faith in God. He did expect help from God. When he received the money, he was not surprised, but his happiness was just for some moment. And here is the turning point, student. Why it is a turning point here? Because now here Lancho is telling, he felt that the post office employees, post office people are cheaters. God has sent him all 100 pesos and they have taken 30 pesos from it. They have taken the money and they are sending only 70 pesos. When he counted the money, he became very angry. He believed that God could never deceive him. Children, he was having firm faith in God. He told God could not deceive him. Okay. So children, it was genuine Lancho's anger against post office employees. Since he was having a firm and unshaken faith in God, he did expect from God, and he believed that all the God had sent all 100 pesos. When he received the money, he was not surprised because he already knew that God is surely going to help him. But his happiness was just for some moment, because the moment he counted the money, he found that it was not 100 pesos, it was only 70 pesos. So he became very angry. He believed that God could never deceive him. So first of all, he believed that God could never deceive him. Immediately he wrote a second letter to God and posted it. The postmaster opened the letter eagerly. Lancho wrote that he received 70 pesos that had been sent by God. He requested God to send him the rest of the money. He asked God not to send the money through the mail. The post office employees were a bunch of crooks. Very important point. So what title, instead of saying thank you, if he would have known the story, what he had done, he had blamed them. Okay. And he passed comment by telling them that the post office employees were a bunch of crooks. Okay, so this is the whole turning point of the story. This is a irony of the story here. So once again, the main point of the story, Lancho was a farmer. His house was the only house in the valley and on the top of the hill. So his house was only house in the valley and the top of the hill. Lancho's fields needed a rain for a good harvest. He looked expectantly at the sky and it did rain at last. The drop of rain was like the coins for him, but his happiness was short-lived as a very large hailstorm began to fall after the rain. The hailstone destroyed all the leaves on the trees, plants and flowers. There would be no crop that year. There was a single hope, help from God. On the following Sunday, he wrote a letter to God. He needed 100 pesos to sow his field again and to live until the new crop came. He wrote to God on the envelope and put the letter into the mailbox. The postman laughed heartily and took it to the postmaster. The postmaster laughed too, but soon he became serious. He decided to reply the letter and help Lancho. He collected 70 pesos only from his employees and himself contributed a part of his salary. He put the money in an envelope and posted it to Lancho. Lancho had an unbroken faith in God, and he was not surprised when he received the money. His happiness was turned into anger as they were 30 pesos short of the money. Lanchos could never believe that God could ever deceive him. So he wrote another letter to God reminding him that he received only 70 pesos sent by him. He asked God not to send the rest of 30 pesos through the mail, as the post office employees were like the bunch of crook. So children, this was a turning point, okay, that to whom the person who helped him, they became a bunch of crook for Lancho. Okay, and he did not even try to find out who had sent the money, because children, he had an unshaken faith in God. He expected a definite help from him. So he showed no surprise when he received the money. Neither did he try to find out the sender. Okay. Now children, here the most important point and the most important question of this whole chapter is, what is the ironical about the ending of the story? Okay. The end of the story is rather ironical. The postmaster was greatly impressed by Lancho's faith in God. He did not want to shake his faith in God. He collected a sum of 70 pesos from his employees and contributed a part of his salary. However, his great act of charity was not recognized and appreciated by the man who received the help. On the contrary, the helpers were ironically called a bunch of crooks. Okay, so children, this is the end of the story. Sometime our face are shaken, but then we don't have to mind it. We have to do our deeds. We have to do our duties without caring for the result, as the postmaster had done. So with this, I end my chapter, and very soon we are going to revise some of the important questions from the sample paper in my next video. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Have a good day.